No matter how clever a criminal is, they always make one mistake or another while committing a crime. The police catch onto these mistakes and use them to uncover the crime. But what if a story from a movie screen comes to life, and the police start investigating crimes the same way they do in films? Today, we're discussing the Kimsi Jain case. This story begins in Chhattisgarh, a state located in the central eastern part of India, in a city called Bhilai, which falls under the Durg district. Bhilai is also known as the Steel City of Central India. The incident took place on November 10, 2015. Early that morning, a man called the Inspector General of Police IG directly. The caller introduced himself as IP Mishra, a prominent businessman in Chhattisgarh. He was the chairman of the Gangajali Education Society and the Shankaracharya group of colleges, and his only son, Abhishek Mishra, was the director of one of these colleges. They operated 4 colleges between Bhilai and Raipur. IP Mishra informed the IG that his son, Abhishek Mishra, had been missing since the previous night. His phone was also switched off, and they asked for help finding him. Given that this involved one of the most influential families in the city, the officers were alarmed. How could someone like Abhishek go missing without a trace? Where did he go, and who did he meet? Was he safe, or had something happened to him? The family had no idea. The first step was to file a missing persons report for Abhishek Mishra at the Jevra Sirsa police station. After that, high-ranking police officers went to the Mishra family home to gather information. They wanted to know where Abhishek might have gone, who he usually met, and who he had been with the previous day. The family told the police that Abhishek had returned from Delhi on November 9th. Between 7 and 8 p.m., he left the house, saying he had some work to attend to and would return shortly. Abhishek, who was married with a son and a daughter, didn't come back that night. When his phone was turned off, the family assumed he was busy with work. They weren't worried at first and waited for him to return. However, by the morning of November 10th, when they realized Abhishek still hadn't come home and his phone was still off, IP Mishra called the IG. After hearing the details, the police started their investigation. They questioned each family member about their last conversations with Abhishek, what he might have mentioned about his plans, or if he'd said anything about who he was meeting. But no clues were found. Abhishek had left in his car abruptly, which devastated the family, especially since the Diwali festival was just 2 days away. His father and the employees who worked with him also began searching for him, calling people they knew. Meanwhile, the police investigation was ongoing, but no leads had surfaced yet. Since Abhishek didn't show up at his usual places, the police suspected that he might have been kidnapped for ransom. He had let go because she was married. There were rumors from the old college staff that Abhishek Mishra and Kimsi Kambaj had developed some closeness. The last time Abhishek was heard from on the night he disappeared was during a conversation with this girl. The police didn't suspect her much because the two often spoke. Kimsi lived in Smriti Nagar, Bhilai, with her husband and had a 1.5-year-old child. That day, she had called Abhishek from Smriti Nagar. The location of Abhishek's phone also revealed that he had gone from his Bhilai residence to Smriti Nagar. He stayed there for a while and then headed toward the Raipur highway near the airport. That was the last known location of his phone, and after that, it disappeared. It seemed that Abhishek was kidnapped from that very spot. Since the last call to Abhishek was from Kimsi, who was also in Smriti Nagar at the time, the police wondered if Kimsi had called him to meet. But then, she was married with a child, and Abhishek was also married with 2 children. Why would they meet? Although they had been close once, they weren't anymore. The police decided to question Kimsi. She admitted that there had been some closeness between her and Abhishek, but that was in the past, and now they were on separate paths. She said they were just friends. Kimsi's location was checked and confirmed that she had been at her home. After the conversation, At the station, Vikas was questioned, but he denied every police question. The police pressed him on where Abhishek was and how he knew him, but Vikas was not providing satisfactory answers. Eventually, the police showed their true colors and presented him with all the evidence from the investigation. Vikas's courage broke, and he confessed that Abhishek was no longer alive. He had been murdered. Vikas revealed that he, his uncle, and Kimsi had killed Abhishek. He explained how Kimsi had shared her grievances with him. It all began when Kimsi started working for Abhishek. Through work, they grew closer, spending hours talking on the phone. In 2013, Kimsi's family arranged her marriage to Vikas Jain, who was thrilled to have such a good wife. He fulfilled all her desires, as they had no shortage of money. Vikas was a businessman. Meanwhile, Abhishek was already married. If you look at it, both their lives were separate. They had families. Given that their lives were now on separate paths, they should have moved away from each other. Kimsi was trying to distance herself from Abhishek. Both were Abhishek's private secretaries. Abhishek did not want Kimsi to drift away from him. He wanted to maintain the same relationship they had before. When Kimsi refused, Abhishek began blackmailing her. He had some objectionable photos of Kimsi. This statement was given by Kimsi's husband, claiming that Abhishek was blackmailing her. Kimsi also confirmed that due to the blackmailing, she left her job and distanced herself from Abhishek. However, Abhishek began harassing her by calling her, continuing to engage in inappropriate conversations. Even when Kimsi refused, he would blackmail her. This went on for 2 years, and by 2015, one day, Kimsi's husband Vikas Jain found out that something was going on with his wife. He confronted her, and Kimsi told him everything, that she had a relationship with Abhishek before the marriage, but even after marriage, Abhishek continued troubling her. Hearing this, Vikas became extremely angry. He decided that confronting Abhishek would be of no use because his family was powerful, and they could not do anything against them. However, he concluded that they could remove Abhishek from their path permanently. Vikas then spoke to his uncle, and together they conspired to eliminate Abhishek. They planned everything meticulously. On the evening of November 9th, Kimsi called Abhishek and invited him to her home, saying that she was alone, and her husband was out and wouldn't return tonight, asking him to come quickly to Smriti Nagar. Hearing this, Abhishek immediately left to meet Kimsi, telling his family that he had some work and would return soon. The house they were meeting at actually belonged to a friend or relative of Vikas Jain. Shortly after, Abhishek arrived at Kimsi's house, where Vikas and his uncle Ajit attacked him from behind, hitting him on the head with an iron rod. Abhishek fell to the ground instantly, and they both continued attacking him with the rod and sharp weapons. After a while, they assumed he was dead. They had already dug a 6-foot hole in the garden, where they grew vegetables. They brought Abhishek's body near the pit and threw it in. It was reported that they poured around 100 kilograms of salt over the body to decompose it faster. Vikas then sat in Abhishek's car and took his phone as well, intending to mislead the police. He drove to the Raipur airport, where the area was deserted, with Ajit following on a bike. After leaving the car, Ajit picked Vikas up on his bike, and they destroyed Abhishek's phone to eliminate any traces. The police asked Vikas about the body because proving a murder without evidence was difficult. On December 23rd, the next day, Vikas accompanied the police to his house in Smriti Nagar. Vikas pointed to the corner of the garden, which confused the police since cauliflower plants were growing there. Upon asking again, they removed the plants and started digging. After digging 6 feet, the police found a decomposed body. It was hard to tell if the body was Abhishek's, but items such as a bracelet, chain, watch, slippers, and other belongings helped identify the body. Abhishek's family members recognized these items. The forensic examination of the body was sent to the Mekahara hospital in Raipur. 3 days before the murder, Vikas had a 6-foot pit dug in his garden, and neighbors saw this happening. When they asked, Vikas explained that he was installing a lightning conductor device, which is used to protect appliances from lightning strikes by grounding the electrical charge. After the murder, they threw the body into the pit and covered it. To hide the freshly dug earth, Kimsi planted cauliflower plants from another location in the garden. Vikas also made the ransom call, buying a new SIM card and calling from a distant location. On December 24th, a team was sent to Delhi, and Kimsi was arrested as well. Both were now in police custody. On December 26th, Ajit, the uncle, was also arrested. The police prepared the charge sheet, and the trial began in the Durg Sessions Court. In May 2021, Ajit Jain and Vikas Jain were sentenced to life imprisonment, along with fines ranging from Rupee 15,000 to Rupee 150,000. Kimsi Jain was acquitted due to the benefit of the doubt, as her claim was that Abhishek was blackmailing her, which Abhishek's family denied, stating that Abhishek was a simple and honest man who would never do such a thing. The main accused, because of whom all of this happened, was Kimsi Jain, and she was released by the Sessions Court. Friends, the purpose of sharing this story is not to hurt or disturb anyone, but to make you aware and cautious. Please share your thoughts about this incident in the comments box, and if you appreciated our effort, don't forget to like and share this video. If you haven't subscribed to the Kovnak Crime channel yet, please do so.